Hello and welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Irma and you can find me on YouTube, Ravelry and Instagram as Wolwerkjes. For people outside of Holland who don't know how to write down Wolwerkjes, you can find it down here. And let's get started. So, first of all, this is the third time I'm trying to record this episode. The first time I didn't even finish recording. I was so all over the place and not happy with how it looked and everything that I was just like, okay, let's start over. And then the second time I finished the episode, but even before I got to editing, it was in my head and I was like, no, it wasn't right. And I don't know why. And I don't know if this episode will be alright. You haven't seen the last one, you will never see it. But I hope this will make me feel better. Because first of all, this is a thing I do because I like to do it. And I want to be happy with the thing I post. Will get this episode posted, whatever is gonna happen, but I will just let you know. And that also explains some things that I will show that are maybe not the way I wanted it to show. So first of all, I always start with what I'm wearing. I'm not wearing any knitwear or handmade things on the top part this time, but I'm gonna stand up. I am wearing a dress, a skirt I made, and I will stand up so you can see it a little bit better. It's a pattern out of a Dutch sewing magazine. It's a waist-high skirt with an invisible zipper. You can't see it because it's invisible, but here is a zipper running down. And I really liked making this pattern. I was a little bit disappointed in the beginning because it didn't fit me. When you make a waist-high skirt, you make the size that fits your waist because that's where it needs to fit the most. But my hips and my bottom is a little bit larger in comparison to my waist, so it didn't fit. So I had to take out the side seams and re-stitch them, re-sew them, and now it fits. But it was a little bbit frustrating, especially because the fabric of the underskirt, this blue fabric, shows all the mistakes you make, and because it's underneath it doesn't really matter, no one will see. But yeah, I'll just do like this. But yeah, it was a bit annoying and that it didn't fit. And yeah, so at the side seams there are some damages to the underskirt, but that's just how it is. What I also want to say is I used a how you call it, invisible zipper feet for my sewing machine, and I think most of the brands out there do sell those feet for your machine, and it was perfect. Really, I always had a little bit of trouble with an invisible zipper with a normal zipper feet. Sometimes it went really well, but sometimes you just don't get right into that groove where you have to stitch to make the zipper invisible. And it can be really, really annoying. And then I heard someone talk about special feet for invisible zippers. And you guys, if you want to sew an invisible zipper, when you are maybe afraid of an invisible zipper, this feet make all the difference in the world, and it will go right just in one go. It was perfect. So that's what I'm wearing. We go right into finished objects, and this is where I have a little problem because I gave a pair of Rose City roller socks away just after recording the last episode, because they fit my mom better than they did me, and I didn't have time to ask them back from her. So that's that. I can do two things. I can maybe put in the footage I recorded yesterday about the socks in here, or I will just post a picture in here so you can see them. Yeah, so Rose City Rollers, I entered them for the, not really entered, I used the hashtag Stranded Roller Derby, because Amy Florence of the Stranded podcast is having a knit along for those Rose City Rollers. So that's why I use this hashtag. I like joining knit-alongs. I like knitting the same thing as other people do. I like seeing the projects that other people make, which are the same pattern I'm using at the moment. It's really nice. I'm not really good in taking part in the conversations on Ravelry. It's a little bit overwhelming for me, but that doesn't mean I don't enjoy those knit-alongs. So that's that. Another finished object. I have it. Where did I put it? Okay, this was really strange. I just, before I started recording, I went upstairs where my youngest son is sleeping to get the other finished object. But I lost it just within a few minutes. So that's why there is a cut in the video over here. I left it at the mirror. I always look in the mirror before I start recording. Not because it really matters, because it will get messed up anyway. But that's just that. And I left the finished object there. So that was a little bit of a search. But here it is. A little monster. And people who have followed the podcast will recognize these. I already made two, one for my oldest son and one for his teacher who was pregnant, as a gift for the baby. And this was the last one I made for my youngest son. And he's really happy with it, he sleeps with it. But I was very happy that he wasn't holding it very tight just now. It was just lying next to him, so I can show you. And I will put it back before he wakes up. Finished objects. So those were my finished objects, and for the rest of the episode I have a few works in progress which I want to show, and I have a few gifts I got because it has been my birthday in the past 2 weeks, so that's also fun to show. And I have a few things I'm wondering about what I'm gonna do. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to show is one of the works in progress that has been on the show for quite a few times now. And it is still growing, not very fast, but that's not strange when you have almost 400 stitches on the needles. It's my boxy by Joji Locatelli, and I'm this far along for now. I hear a lot of people having this problem that the ribbing on the edge, it's just a few rows, is curling up. I hope this will be over once it's off the needles and in the right shape, but we will see that. Otherwise maybe some blocking will help, or steaming, because it's not a rib that needs to be stretchy because it's a boxy pattern, so it doesn't matter if there is stretch in the rib or not, it's just for the looks of the rib. So maybe I will just steam it a bit. It's blowing out on the camera I think, but I'm in love with this color. It's my own hand-dyed yarn. I'm using my merino silk Rami base. I don't know how you say Rami in English. Rami maybe. I will put it on the screen which base it is. and it's a little bit slippy is not the right word, but it's a very smooth yarn with not as much stretch in it as a 100% wool. So you can feel it's a different yarn than 100% wool, you can feel that. But because of the silk and the rami, it gives a really nice shine over it. And it's really airy and flexible. You can see the drape when it's just hanging on my needles right now. It's a perfect base for shawls as well, because it's so drapey. And you guys, this color really, I can't get over it. From a distance it looks just like a coralish pink, but when you look up close there is a lot of variation in the color. I do alternate skeins just for the sake of it's hand-dyed yarn, but I think it's quite consistent. I don't think anyone can see that it is striped. So that's really nice. I'm on my third skein now. Not because I run out of the first two, but because I want to get the third skein in the knitting before I run out. Because when you wait until one of the balls of yarn is running out, the other one is also gonna be run out very soon. So then you have 2 new balls in your changing skeins, and I think the risk of color change is a little bit bigger then. So I just chose to skip one of the skeins and put in the third a little early, and this is what I have left of the skein that I took off, and I will use it when I'm in the sleeves or something. Excuses for my really ugly nail polish at the moment, not because of the color, but because it's wearing off a lot. Oh. Boxy, Joji Locatelli, really love it, also because of the yarn. I really love this color. That's my first whip. Okay. It's really funny to tell this again so soon, but that's that. It just has to be. Okay, a other work in progress. Let me see. I will show you this one first. It's Calla by Natasja Hornby, who is Moonstruck Knits on Ravelry. And it is a pattern that is published in the latest Laine issue. I think it was issue 7. And it's a beautiful shawl where the main part is a broken rib, but the further you go along, the more cables appear, and this is a really nice cable pattern. And because of this motif, it's called calla, because those flowers are called that way. And what is really hard to show on camera and also on pictures, and it surprised me because I couldn't see it myself when I saw the pictures in the magazine, but this is really 3D. There is like a cup, like the cup of the flower. Over here you can see I can put my pinky in there, and it really gives the effect of the flower. So that's really fun, but really hard to show, as I said, on camera. So I hope you can imagine what I mean. The pattern is really nice. The cables are beautifully designed, and you can see that even at the center where there are new flowers appearing, it's so beautiful. I'm just looking, I think I maybe made a mistake over here with the direction of the cables, but I will figure that out later. Or maybe just this part is just a bit tighter, that's also possible. Nothing for you to worry about, just for me. So now I have to do another piece of broken rib, and then there will be more flowers, and I'm very excited to get this done. I'm using Tesselse schapenwol. If you want to know a little bit more, you can Google it, or you can watch last or the episode before, because I talked a little bit more about it there. It's a Dutch sheep breed, and I love to work with it. And I am only on my second skein, which is looking like this at the moment. So it's quite okay. I know the pattern will take up more yarn the further I am along, because the amount of stitches on the needle is going to be bigger with every round. But I think I have 5 skeins. I think that will be enough. The pattern calls for 4, but has way more meterage on each skein than this yarn, so that's why I had an extra skein. And I'm looking forward to finish it. I have to be honest, I haven't knit on this for I think a week or something, because the cable part is quite... you have to pay attention, and when I have to pay attention I find it easier to do it within a certain time. So let's say every day instead of every other day, because it's still in my head, and when I put it down for too long I will forget how the cables go. So when I finished this first cable part, my head was like, okay, now you can work on something else, and I did. So that's why I haven't done that much work on it for now. It will be quite huge, I think, because it can't fit on the screen now, the width, and I think I'm halfway through the pattern maybe. So that's really nice. I like big shawls and scarves and stuff around my neck, so that's really, really fun. And I have more works in progress. I have a new pair of socks on the needles. It was an experiment with dyeing. I wanted to make a intentional microstripe, so that I can predict what kind of microstripe it will be. And that's, for me as a dyer, it's really nice to know how to do that. It's fun to make this consistent repeat of color repeats in the yarn. It's really fun to do. And I was thinking I can just knit around on a sock and measure, and then mark the beginning and the end and rip it out, and then I will know how many inches or centimeters I need for one row in a sock. And of course it can be a little bit more for more stitches, or a little bit less for fewer stitches. But I was like, oh, but there will be people that have already done that. So I was looking on the internet for the amount of inches needed for one row of a sock. And they said something like 15 to 20 inches. Either my inches measurement tape thing isn't right, or the source I got this information from isn't right, and I think it's the last thing. I needed way more inches than those 20 inches that was assumed, and I only noticed it as I was knitting the sample. So the repeat is different than I thought it would be. It gives different effects, still really fun, and I will experiment more with this. But yeah, it was really surprising that not everything on the internet is right, as I already knew, but now I was confronted with it again. This is the skein caked up. I will put in a picture how it was looking in the skein itself. So you get an idea, and you can see there are reds and grey and greenish blue. and this is how it's knitting up. And I put my finger here on purpose because this is how the yarn will repeat when you are just knitting round and round and round. And here I started with the heel. And of course in the heel flap there will be happening something else because you have shorter rows, because you're knitting on half of the stitches just from left to right and back. So there will be happening something else, and this part is where I have the decreases to fit it on my foot again. So that's why it looks a little bit different there. I will show this again when I've finished it, of course. And then you can see the length of the foot. There you can see the repeats at the best, because that's the longest piece of just knitting in the round. The reason I did a shorty is because that's what I wear myself the most, and because it's just to look, it's just an experiment for myself what will happen with certain types of dyeing in certain areas of the yarn for certain amount of inches or centimeters. So that's why I just knit the sock I like. If it would really be a shop sample, maybe I would have knitted a little bit longer leg. But as I said, the foot will show the color repeat just fine. And maybe what most people do is knit a contrasting heel, so you don't have the problem with the repeat changing. But I think the heel flap is really fun looking with this color repeat. So either way, I'm happy with these socks. And the area of the grey and red does make me remember, make me think of the heart tree in Game of Thrones. So that's really fun, and that's what I'm thinking of when I'm knitting on these. So another work in progress, and I'm very happy with everything I learned about this. And I have another work in progress, and I had a look at my scarf and shawl collection, and there were a lot of shawls and scarves that I made a long time ago, but not really, I don't really use them anymore, or because they are just not my style anymore, but sometimes also because I just find that I did it not as nice as I could do now, and people know I knit and do stuff like that, and I'm afraid that when I'm wearing them other people will think, ooh, that's not that nice. And of course it isn't. It was one of my first projects, but I can do way better now. So that's why some of them got a little bit less love than maybe they should get. And there was one crocheted scarf with just how you call it, granette, oh, I don't know, moss stitch, I think is this. Something that looks like moss stitch, because I think moss stitch is knitted, but this was crochet and just one stitch, one single crochet and then one chain, and then the other row just the other way around. When you don't crochet, you have no idea what I was talking about. If you do crochet, maybe as well, but it was a really easy crocheted pattern, and it wasn't that nice because the yarn is a little bit thick and thin, and on the edges it was wobbling really bad, and I didn't like it. This is the yarn. I ripped it out. I think the colors are quite fun, maybe not something I would choose for at this moment, but it was worth it to take it out and use the yarn again, because why spill good yarn? So I took that out, and then I had 6 balls of this. I now only have 5 skeins because I already used one. I had 6 skeins of this and I wasn't sure what to do with it, and then I think I was wearing this one. This is just a store-bought bolero. Practically these are just sleeves that you can put on over anything, and I was like, oh, it would be nice to have them a little bit warmer, so then when it cools down you can just put on sleeves, and especially in summer it's really nice to be able to put on extra sleeves in the evenings. So I was looking on Ravelry and there were a few patterns okay, but I didn't know really what the weight of the yarn was, and because I think there's cotton in it. I'm quite sure there's cotton in it, you can feel it. I don't think there's any wool in it whatsoever. I think it's cotton and maybe some synthetic fiber. And because I didn't know the yarn weight, the thickness of the yarn or the reps per inch, and I couldn't be bothered with just wrapping the yarn around something and count the reps per inch. I was just like, okay, I will just make my own pattern and we'll just see what comes of it. So I started with a ribbed cuff, and the first idea I had was just a completely ribbed pattern, but my brain wasn't in the right position for a lot of calculation, and I didn't want to be bothered with increasing in a ribbed pattern. I can do it, I'm sure, but I couldn't be bothered with it at the moment I was knitting this. So I just increased after the cuff, so it would be a little bit wider, and kept increasing in a certain ratio, and this is how much I have at this moment. It's really easy and fun to work on when I have the right amount of length for my arm. I will just knit flat, and after the shoulders I will just start the other sleeve, and then I will add a border, I think also in rib, to make it stay on. And yeah, we will see what this will become. Maybe I'm writing down what I'm doing because I want to be able to replicate this sleeve exactly at the other side. Maybe I will make a little bit more effort out of it so you can have this pattern as well when I am finished. But that needs a little bit more time because now it's just writing in a beautiful book, notebook. I think it's a bullet journal officially. I got it for my birthday from my niece, and it's really, really nice. I don't know, not my niece, my cousin. My cousin. In Dutch, cousin and niece both have the same word, so I always have to think about it when I'm talking in English if I should use the word niece or cousin, but she's my cousin. And yeah, it's fun to work on. I'm not quite sure if I like the feel of this yarn, but I think there is enough cotton in it to make it feel a lot like cotton, and that's fine. So I have 4 works in progress that are active at the moment, but I watched through my stash and project bags and those places where you put yarn, and I found some projects that I either should work on or either want to work on again. So let's start with the things I want to work on again. One of them is a it's not on the needles. I ripped it out a few months back It was this yarn, and I was knitting a sweater for my husband, a nice colorwork sweater, a little bit like a traditional Scandinavian sweater with a modern twist. And my tension changed over the time I was knitting this sweater. So I was able to see this transition in tension, and I didn't like it, so I ripped it out. And most of the times, I don't know if everybody has the same problem, but most of the times I rip something out, I just don't want to look at it for a while. And when I was looking through my works in progress and project bags and those things, I found this again and I was like, I'm okay with starting it again. So that I think that's gonna happen somewhere this week. Because I know it's not weather to wear a warm sweater during daytime, but I think it's a nice thing to put on when it chills down a bit, and then it will maybe be finished before winter. Because when I start after the summer with these projects, I'm quite sure I won't finish them in time to wear that winter. So it's a good time to start in spring/summer with the winter project. So I think that will be that I will start with this quite soon. And I think I can have some good feelings about this project again. And another thing I want to work on, but I don't give myself time to work on, is my Cozy Memories blanket. And let me see, I haven't done, I think maybe in January I did a little bit of work on it, but that's it. After that I haven't done anything about it, and I really want it to be a big cozy blanket and I want to use it, but then it has to be finished. And I have quite some minis already in the right weight to lying around to be put in here. So yeah, I really want to work on this again. I think I will just keep it downstairs, and when we're watching a movie or a series, it's an easy thing to knit a square. So another thing I really want to work on. Now there are two things lying around here and I think I should work on them, but I don't really have the feeling yet, but I hope it will come. One of them is another sock, and I think I already showed you last time, or maybe 2 episodes back, that I knit the leg too high up for my liking. I think it's because of the stripy pattern that I just kept knitting. And when I was when I was over here, I was like, yeah, but I don't want a afterthought heel because it doesn't fit my foot right. The slip stitch, the fish lips kiss heel fits me better, and I think the heel flap in gusset with a slip stitch heel flap also fit my foot better. So that's why I put in a fish lips kiss heel at this point. And then I was like, ooh, but that's a really long leg. I don't really wear socks with really long legs. But I couldn't be bothered with ripping out because I took the time to knit all this fabric. So I just went for it. Only now the weather is way too hot to even think about. It's not hot, but it's too hot to wear this kind of socks outside the house now. So that's why I lost my mojo a bit, I think. But I hope I will. I think I should get it back, because why knitting on other socks when you have a sock lying around, right? I think after I finished my micro striping socks. I should work on this one before I start another one. This is also, it's the first sock. And to match them, I know I have to knit this much of a leg to make them pair up. So maybe that's also not appealing to me at the moment. But I should work on this. So I have another project I should work on, I think. But can't really be motivated to do so. And I showed it to my mom. She knows I have it, and I'm a lefty, so in knitting that doesn't really matter. I just knit in the same direction as every knitter. Most of the knitters do. I know a few people that are lefties and knit the other way around, but I think with knitting you really need both hands, so I couldn't be bothered with doing it the other way around that other people do. But with crocheting I prefer to do it with my left hand, because I'm used to doing things with my left hand. And my mom is just right-handed, so she cannot continue this. She can't finish this for me. I haven't done that much, so we were thinking of maybe ripping it out so she can make it. But as we were talking about it, I was like, no, I think I eventually I want to finish this myself, just because it's a lovely project. It's the Hygge pattern by Scheepjes. Scheepjes is a Dutch yarn brand. And it's a crocheted scarf, and over here it's a free pattern. I can just tell you everything I want because it's free, it's on their site. You start off with a bubble pattern, which was really fun to do, and then the crochet goes over in just plain crochet with single crochet stitches. And then you embroider, then you cross stitch a pattern over those crocheted stitches, which gives a really fun effect, and maybe it's easier to see in this swatch. And it's really fun. It's also quite fun to do, but for somehow I lost my mojo, and I think the biggest issue I have is that when you crochet, your stitches are kind of moving around like a zigzag a bit. Not really zigzag, but they're just a little bit off-centered. And that means that when you make the cross stitch pattern, it's also not really... yeah, you can't see it in the swatch, but when I'm doing the cross stitch, I notice this effect of the stitches being not right on top of each other, and that bothers me a bit. And I think that's why I have stopped working on this. So yeah, I don't know. I really should work on this. And when you look in a box like this, you just want to work with all those nice colors. So yeah, I really should start again. And I think when I start again, I will like it again. But the starting sometimes is the most difficult part. I bought this as a kit. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think those are available anymore. But on the Scheepjes site, the pattern is still available. And you can also, they also tell you how much of each color you need. So you can put together your own kits. And I think that is also one of the things that upsets me a bit, because I love these colors. Only when you see the examples, and let me see if I can find a good example. Over here is a bit of the cross stitch pattern, and because they use really vibrant colors in the example, in the pictures, you really can see the cross stitch pattern really well. But because those colors are really nice but quite close together, in this way you can see the pattern just fine. But when you are looking at this part, for example, you can almost not see the cross stitches here at the edge, and I think that also upsets me a bit. But it's a beautiful pattern, it's fun to do, and I just should start again. So, works in progress. Things to do, things to finish, things to work on, even though I maybe don't want to, because when you wait too long, and I think with this one I wait too long, you also have the risk that your the way you are making the stitches is different than back then, and maybe I hope I don't have to, but maybe I even have to rip it out if I want to make it myself, because maybe my tension changed a bit. I hope not, because it's a square piece, you will notice it when your tension is different. So I hope I don't have to, and I should just start working on it again. So that's that. I have a few other things. First, the presents, I think. As I said, I got a bullet journal, and I think I'm going to devote that to knitting and stuff like that. And making and sewing, and maybe even my shop, so that everything crafty related is in one place. And I also got some sock yarn. And I like asking sock yarn for a present, because you only need one skein and it's really fun to see what kind of colors other people choose for you. So these two I got from my aunt. I got this color combination and I got this color combination. And they're both Regia yarns, and it's from the new line of Arne & Carlos, the Mountains and Fjords design line, and I think this will be really fun socks. It's self-patterning, that's always fun to work with. And I have got from lovely friends and neighbors, I got 2 skeins of, I didn't even know Scheepjes did sock wool as well. It's in Victa color, and it's a really lovely colorful sock yarn. And what I was thinking when I saw this, that how fun will it be to make a lot of shorty socks and just mix and match them, because every sock will be in around the same colors but just a little bit different, and I think that will be really fun, as well as in this skein. They're just a little bit different, really fun. So that's for the present. Now, I also told you that I am in a little bit of a struggle what I should do with some things I found in my stash. And we'll just pick them up. Yeah. So the first thing is this one. It's already caked up. It's a lace weight yarn, and although I love the colors, I think they're quite pale. I think over here you can't even see that there is even color in here, but there really is. There are pinks and blues and greens, but really soft. And I think I ordered this from internet really a long time ago. I don't even know the brand anymore, but I was expecting a little bit more vibrant colors, I think. But it is pretty, and it's a lace weight, and I think on a lace weight skein is around 800 meters, and I think that's enough to make a little shawl or scarf. And what I was thinking is maybe when I add beads in a more vibrant color, it will be more of my liking. So I'm looking for a lace weight shawl pattern with beads that only needs one skein. And that's really hard to find. I think there is a pattern on Ravelry that I'm going to try. But what I don't like about what I'm afraid of is that you only see you don't have enough yarn near the end. And what makes shawls most of the time special is the edging. And it's not fun when you don't have enough yarn to make the edging the way it is in the picture. So that's why that's keeping me off a bit. But I really should work with this yarn. It's pretty and I think it would make a lovely shawl for summer. So that's one thing I'm thinking about, and I'm not really sure which pattern I want to use. And another thing I'm thinking a lot about is this skein of hand spun. I spun this myself, I dyed fiber myself before I spun it, and it's a grey merino silk blend. And I love it, and it's special because there are so much elements I did myself. But I'm afraid of choosing a pattern because I don't know if it will be the perfect pattern. And I think that's a problem, especially with handspun. You put effort in it, you love the yarn, you know exactly how the yarn feels, and it's always special to have it in a skein. But it would be really a shame if this was just only going to be a skein. It has to be something, there has to be something made out of this beautiful yarn. And I think I just should choose a pattern and just do it, because the longer I'm going to think about it, the more it will be difficult to, I don't think there is a perfect pattern for every yarn. So I will just have to make something about it. And I think it will be a cowl or a hat. But I think it's too much yardage for a hat, and then I have leftovers, and then I have to do something with the leftovers. So I think it will be a cowl, I think. Or a hat. Yeah, I am not really a hat type of person. And I think the biggest issue is that the front layer of my hair is too long. And I want hair in my face when I'm wearing a hat. So maybe that's why I don't knit hats that often. And I really should get a haircut. It's fine, but it's much, and I don't know. I always imitate like a lock, but there is no lock anymore because it's too long and I really need to go to the hairdresser. I really do. Maybe I will go this afternoon if they have space. Maybe. Can I go short again? I once had my hair really short with like a lock in front of my eyes, and oh, it was so fun. It was so fun. But I have the problem that when my hair is long, I want it short. And when my hair is short, I want it long again. And going short isn't that difficult, that's quite easy. But growing it long again takes a really long time for me. So that's why it's quite long for some time now. I don't know. And when I have long hair, the only thing I do with it is making a bunch of hair on the back of my head, and that's the only thing I do with it. I'm not I don't have the hair to make like a beautiful big braid or something. It's just I put it up and that's it. So I could even just cut it off and get on with it, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe next episode you will see me with short hair. I don't know. Okay, so I have to just start knitting with this instead of thinking about the perfect pattern, which may never come, and then it will be just a skein of yarn forever, and it should be a knitted project. So that's that. I think I talked about everything I should talk about. I think. Maybe I'm forgetting something really big, I don't know. So it was fun talking to you again for the third time. Only you have seen only this time, but yeah, just it was so annoying. And I don't even why. Oh my gosh. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye!